Back in April, probably. The Swan Memorial Fountain, the three people on top of it actually depict our three major rivers. Delaware River, Schuylkill River, and Wissahickon Creek. That park, though, Logan Square, it used to be a square. A few hundred years after that, the automobile was invented, and they rounded it off in the 20s. That park, and it's been there since the 1680s. You know what it used to be used for? Public executions, all right? All the public hangings took place there up until the 1820s. The last guy was hanged to death. He was convicted of murdering his spouse, and they hanged him. Thousands of people would show up to watch the hangings, of course. On the right, you got a cool Shakespeare Monument. We got a lot of cool statues here. I like the Shakespeare one, and that is, of course, the main branch of the Philly Library. On the right. So we have the largest library system in America, apparently. And Ben Franklin, he's the guy who started it. He founded the first library in America back in the 18th century. And on the left, there's the Franklin Institute. That is, of course, dedicated to Ben Franklin, who was a scientist and inventor. That's a science and technology museum. One of the exhibits there is where you can learn about Ben Franklin's scientific works. His experiments with electricity got him honorary doctorates from one of the oldest universities in Scotland, St. Andrews. I think it was founded in the 1400s. And Oxford University, of course, which is even older. I think it was founded in, 1100s or so? So, Ben Franklin, he's the guy who invented positive and negative, very important scientific mind in the 18th century, particularly with electricity. Now, on the left, these columns are Art Deco, and they are a Civil War monument depicting soldiers and sailors from the Civil War in the 1860s, when Philly's job was to serve as the entire hospital for the entire Union Army. 50 hospitals or so. They would ship tens and tens of thousands of wounded soldiers here from the battlefields and like Gettysburg and stuff, and they would send them here to Philly to be treated, take advantage of all the top surgeons in America, top medical schools, top hospitals. On the right, that is that nondescript looking building. It's an art museum. It's the Barnes Foundation. There's $30 billion worth of Impressionist paintings inside there. The largest Renoir collection in the world. On the right is another art museum. You might want to take a photo of the statue out front of it, which you guys will recognize. It is a piece by the 19th century French Expressionist sculptor, Rodin. So that is a museum with a collection of Rodin sculptures. I like the Greek Doric portico kind of thing here. The frieze is very beautiful, nicely laid out. So that's a Doric style column. You can see the abacus at the top. So that's a good spot for wedding photos. Everyone always takes their wedding photos on the steps there. Now, the Rodin Museum that's open today, it's part of the Philly Museum of Art. So if you pay for the Philly Museum of Art, you get access to that museum. It has the same hours, same hours. So, factor that into your plans and stuff. We're going to get to Eastern State Penitentiary in a minute. Is anyone planning on getting off there, actually? Okay, I think we're good. We're probably going to finish the tour in about half an hour, something like that. Because of the detours and all that kind of stuff to pray. Now, I mentioned about the medical industry in Philly. When we had the first public hospital in America, it was founded in 1751 by Ben Franklin. First medical school in America was at UPenn, the Ivy League university founded by Ben Franklin. First operating theater was in that hospital, and we had the first children's hospital as well. I think that was founded in the 1860s. First children's hospital in America. Now, Philly also had the first art school in America, the Art Academy, and we had the first Academy of Natural Sciences as well to study birds, that kind of thing, biology. And Philly, a lot of industrial heritage. We built the first steamboat in America, and the first steam locomotive in America were built here. And Philadelphia, we have the first zoo in America. It opened in 1874. If you want to go to our zoo, that's the first zoo in America. Also, first botanical garden was established here in 1736 by this guy, John Bartram. You can still go there. That's a beautiful spot. Things like the first Thanksgiving Day parade I mentioned, and we were the first to, celebrate Mother's Day because it was pretty much invented here in Philly. Now, when we were the financial capital of America, First National Bank of the United States was established here in the 1790s. That's still there, back by Independence Hall. There's an old bank building. And the first United States Mint, I mentioned earlier, established in 1793 into 94. Philadelphia also had the very first breweries in America. Now, I wonder who established those? German immigrants, of course, okay? So the Germans They were coming over as early as the late 1600s. Just after that, basically, is when the first breweries were set up. And, by the time of the 1800s, the brewing industry in Philly, controlled by a handful of wealthy German families. One of them built this mansion here on the left, the Bergdahl family. This mansion here built in the Italianate style by the Bergdahl family. They were, German millionaire brewing family. It's luxury apartments now. Straight ahead of us, is the first penitentiary, Eastern State Penitentiary. That's where the term was coined for this castle-looking building. Up ahead of us, built 1830s, closed down 1970s. It is a museum today. It's considered very haunted. Okay, a lot of people died there. People were murdered there and hanged there, of course. They would hang criminals there, and there's always been a lot of ghost stories about it. It's pretty spooky in there. They go there on those ghost hunter type TV shows. They go there. But it's a museum, so you can go there. You can go visit Al Capone's cell, of course. He was locked up there for 9 months on a weapons charge before he down to his 10-year stint in Georgia. This was before that. So you can go there. It's open till 5 as a museum. It'll be open tomorrow as well. If you want to go there, it's open Sundays. But, you can do the audio tour is narrated by Steve Buscemi, the actor. He does the audio tour there. Over Halloween, it's set up as a giant haunted house. Considered one of the best in America, of course. Pretty famous. So, that's Eastern State. I've been there. It's pretty cool. That's one of the things I would recommend. I recommend the Philly Museum of Art, and I recommend the Seaport Museum and the Museum of the American Revolution. Those are my favorite ones. Now, we're getting close to the halfway point tour. It is the Philly Museum of Art, built in 1928. Our world-class art museum. It's one of my favorite museums in the world. But of course, most people simply know it from the Rocky movies, okay? Where Rocky runs up the steps of the art museum at the end of the famous training montages. So that's like one of the most iconic movie scenes in history, kind of. And they do this Rocky run like every year. So they try and replicate that run. They go past a lot of the landmarks in that running montage, whatever. So that comes down here on the Parkway. Now, was anyone planning on getting off there, by the way? Okay. You guys are good. Just you guys. All right. Well, we're gonna take a look at the traffic over there in just a minute. So we're gonna stop there. Up ahead on the right, famous Art Deco building from the 1920s. If you look up the top of the building, there's a bunch of bronze animals up the top. It's pretty famous for that. You'll see a squirrel on each corner holding an acorn, and then you'll see some pelicans and some foxes. Also, the building is quite famous for the reliefs in between the windows. There's Indian guys, steam locomotive. There's some knights on horseback and some castles and stuff. So, pretty famous building. It's in architecture books and books about Art Deco. It's actually considered one of the finest Art Deco buildings in America. So that's owned by the library now, and they use it for their. It's owned by the art museum. They use it for their library. I like these dogs down the bottom. Yes.
The Rocky statue itself is no longer at the top of the stairs, right?
No, it was there in the 80s. It's been moved. It's just to the side of the steps. You'll see it in just a moment. We're gonna try C. I'm not sure. We might be. Yeah. Hold on. All right. We're gonna make a right-hand turn. You guys should take a photo of this statue. This is one of my favorite statues in Philly. This golden statue, Saint Joan of Arc, patron saint of France. And that statue, she's leading the French to victory over the English in one of the battles of the 100 Years' War in the 15th century. Medieval France, like the Battle of Orleans, a very dramatic French victory in that conflict. They had this bridge thing leading into a big castle in Orleans, and it was like a very dramatic storming of the bridge, this type of thing. Now, Joan of Arc is gold with bronze. It's gold-plated statue. It's covered in real gold over the top of bronze. It's from the 1890s. It was a gift from the French Society of Philadelphia. Up ahead of us on the hill is, of course, the Philly Museum of Art. It is laid out pretty nicely in Greek Revival architecture, so it's designed to look like an ancient Greek temple. Finished in the 20s, beautiful. It's my second favorite building in Philly. All the sculptures and statues and reliefs and stuff on it are, from Greek mythology, apart from the Rocky statue, of course. Up ahead on the right, we're going to see the Rocky statue. The statue was given to us by Stallone in the 1980s to promote around the time of Rocky III coming out. So it was kind of like a promotional thing. And it's the most photographed thing in Philly. If you are going to get off here, do not give your camera to any of these chuckleheads down here that are trying to take your photos. Okay, see that guy in the orange? You don't. They pretend that they work here. They're going to take your camera, and they're not going to give it back unless you pay them like $10 or something. I shouldn't have to be telling adults not to give your camera to strangers when you're in a strange city, but people do it. So, we're going to stop just up on the ice cream truck. If you are getting off here, you can. We're going to stay on and finish the tour. I hope everyone has enjoyed the tour. If you have enjoyed the tour, you got to thank Daryl downstairs, best driver in the company. Daryl and I, we do graciously accept any tips if you think we do a good job with the tour. Now, if you're getting up here, you want to quickly, carefully make your way downstairs. Nice. Actually, it's probably going to be like half an hour or more because the schedule's a bit messed up today. So, yeah. I would say so, but it could be a little.
What are we doing?
I mean, it might be so we can get another bus.
Okay, maybe we shouldn't. Sorry, guys. I know there's no bathrooms here. Do you have like anything in my bag?
Riley, can you wait a little bit longer? You're still okay?
That's a cool. I didn't realize the rock segments that later the rock.
Riley, you gotta go down the steps. It'll leave at 3.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that means if you were like, let's say you were here, you would want to be here by. Oh my God, what's the?
No, you have left.
30, you'd want to be here. No, wait. So however far you are through the route. Where did you want to go?
Let's run up the steps.
Franklin House. Yeah.
Really nice. Most famous steps.
And then get back to City Hall.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Get back here by
The largest statue of Stallone ever in Philadelphia. Stallone outside of his own body.
Let me tell you about that. We don't even go past Ben Franklin's house, so yeah, just finish the tour. You can walk up there pretty easily. I'll show you. It's detours. All right, so we're gonna drive through the skyscraper district of Philly. All right, we got held up there, so you know,
I'm really just going to
we're gonna try to make up some time. This is the section of the tour where we're going to head into the detours. Once we get to City Hall, we're veering off the normal path, right? So if you want to just ride back to Independence Hall or Libertyville, that's where we're going to finish in about 25, 30 minutes, something like that. So if you just want to get back and relax, if you want to get on the chair, you should probably let me know now and I'll help make a plan for you guys.